Hello, everybody. Welcome in. It is Friday, and you know what that means?
Front Office Friday!
Let's go. Front Office Friday is here. We are taking your questions and comments. A busy last couple of days around the NBA. A ton going on, tons for us to get into. Appreciate all of you joining us here on the Front Office YouTube channel live. Again, we'll be taking your questions and comments. Keith, obviously, there's a big game tonight for the Lakers. I am about as nervous as can possibly be. And I woke up feeling under the weather this morning because, of course, on the day when I'm going to spend almost my entire day talking, that's when I've got to come down with. So I blame it on having a 6-year-old and kid germs.
Yeah, that's generally how that goes. It's I went through years of not getting sick beyond like the occasional cold and allergies. And then we had Bella, and the minute she started going to daycare and school, every like couple months, something, knocked me down. So I hear you, my friend. We'll soldier on here and try to get through it as best we can.
We will make it through. We will survive because absolutely we have to. Let's start with this as people are filtering in, and we're going to get some questions and comments coming through here. So right now, a lot of chatter about the Bucks, everything that happened with their series. Titanic is the word for it, right? Collapse that we saw from Milwaukee to lose, obviously, to the 8th seed. That's brutal. The East is beyond wide open at this point with the Bucks gone. I do think the Knicks, the Heat, these are quality teams, but the Bucks were, in terms of ceiling, they were a top two, right? The Bucks and the Celtics, and now they're gone. So when I look at this, and people are talking a ton about the whole Giannis situation, him being asked the question about whether or not it was a failure and all that. Mark Cuban made a lot of it. How did you feel about that situation? Where did you land on that particular topic?
Yeah, on the question side, I think it was a very fair question. And I don't care that he asked it last year. Last year is over. It's a new year. So he was asking it in that sense. So I have no issue at all with that question having been asked. I think the relationship that they have, but players get to know the beat writers.
Yes.
And often they develop good relationships with the beat writers. Everybody has said that Eric Name, that's the reporter who asked the question, and Giannis have a very good relationship. So I think that's why you got such a thoughtful answer from Giannis. As for Giannis's answer, I'm of two minds. I think he is wrong in that the season, it was a failure. When you have a stated goal of win a championship, and I know everybody says all 30 teams have that goal at the beginning of the year, which they don't, right? Some of the teams, it's just get to the playoffs. Some of it's win 10 more games than the year before. Some is, develop our kids, whatever it is. There's all kinds of wide-ranging goals. But the Bucks were a top-tier title contender. They failed, right? They failed, and they failed in pretty epic fashion in the first round. But I do think Giannis's bigger picture of this, I think he answered it in just a weird kind of roundabout way, in a thoughtful answer. I think it is, the idea is, let me rephrase. The idea that we have one successful team and 29 failures is just wrong. It's just not the way sports work. Often we have more successes than we do failures in a season, even though it's there. So if you're the Bucks season, yes, I disagree with them. Bucks season was a failure, but I think his bigger point that he's trying to maybe make is a good one that I don't think should be lost on people.
Yes, yeah, and I think that's where I'm landing on this as well. Like, this is, I had no problem with the question. Mark Cuban had a problem with the question. I didn't have a problem with the question at all. Is it a failure? Yes, no. Cuban's argument was, well, you're trying to create a sensational headline, right? That's what you're trying to do. No, I want to know. I really want to know. Like, I think that there's a lot of insight to be gleaned from hearing about how high performing individuals think about life and think about success and think about failure. And Giannis is certainly that. Any NBA player is. They're in the top percent of their field. And so hearing how Giannis approaches a setback like that, it got me thinking his response, like, how do we approach setbacks like that in our own lives? Because we all fail at stuff. And so I thought Giannis's response was great in that regard. However, it also is unquestionably a failure. The context says that it is. Now, if you are the Orlando Magic and you don't win a championship this season, is that a failure? No, that wasn't really what the goal was of your season. If
Yep.
you're Bucks and you've got maybe the MVP, one of the best players in the league, certainly in Giannis, you've got a team that's built around him to win a championship right now, and you don't do that, and you don't get anywhere close to that. In fact, you collapse and you lose in the first round to the 8 seed. Yes, that's 100% a failure, and it's okay to say that. And it's
Yep.
also okay to take that and springboard that into, yes, this was a failure, but we can take this and we can learn from it. We can take this and we can use it. This can be a massive speed bump, but on the road to something better. We can take this and turn it into other. And I think that was Giannis's point, that ultimately this is building. This is hopefully you do better next time. And it's not just, hey, did we win this season? And that's the end of the story. And I think that was a really good point that he made. But I also think it's not wrong to ask him the question. And it's also okay for him to just admit, yes, this was a failure, because I don't think there's any other way to look at it than, yeah, they failed.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm very interested. I think with this conversation could be fun topic. You know, when we're in NBA August and we
Mhm.
need stuff to fill. I would say we should be in a spot to maybe we go back and look at each team this year and was their season a success or a failure, right? And that's, could be something we could do. And it's obviously those are arbitrary measures that you and I will come up with probably from different directions, and we'll figure those out. I mean, we kind of do that with the off season already. We determine before games even been played, was this a success or failure? So I do think it is very interesting. Just it's an interesting topic. I think it's funny where sorry, Cyrax, you missed. I can't do it again. No, it wouldn't be special if we didn't do it right away. Anaket Mohan, I hope I pronounced that correctly, said, please talk about Jimmy Butler. I mean, I don't know that it's super interesting to talk about Jimmy Butler because I don't have anything more to say than holy crap, he was incredible in this series. Like I don't. There's no more real explanation analysis there than he was just absolutely dominant and unstoppable.
He he really does not like Drew Holiday. We could we
Yeah,
can we could say that, and that was
it is
like,
true.
I was worried a couple of times that maybe it would go a little too far, but it also kind of took me back. I was like, remember when these guys weren't all friends with each other and
Yes.
they actually went at each other and stuff like that? Like, there was a little bit of nostalgia wrapped up in this, and Jimmy was insane. I mean, what an incredible series! What an incredible! I also say, that shot to send the game into overtime, unreal. I mean, that was like tip it. I'll also say though, he fouled the hell out of Pat Connaughton on that play. I mean, just
Sure.
two hands shoved him while he was in the air. That's why
You
he
know
was
what
he was
though?
so wide open.
I prefer they don't make a call there
Oh yeah,
personally.
yeah.
Just
I thought that
I don't
you
want to call on that one.
no, no, no. Let him. I think both things are true. It was an incredible play by Jimmy Butler, and he was also open because he fouled the hell out of Pat
Sure.
Connaughton.
Yeah.
But
Both
that's
things
the
are true.
playoffs.
Yep.
Both those things are true. But it's the playoffs. But yeah, absolutely incredible stuff. That he
Yeah,
was
I don't
just a
this
monster.
whole like we're gonna have to do a 30 for 30 someday on like what in the world
Yeah,
happens to Jimmy Butler when the playoffs start. Like it's just and it's not that he's not a good regular season player because he is obviously he's a very, very good regular season guy, but he just, talk about raising your game to a different level in the playoffs, especially his shooting. That's the one I don't understand. Like that
yeah.
makes absolutely no sense to me
The
that
the
this
pull
dude,
up threes and stuff that he
yeah,
suddenly hit.
he
Like,
doesn't
where did that
even
come from?
take 3-pointers in the regular season. And then in the playoffs, he's like, here we go. I'm gonna get up, 7-8 a game and make half of them. Like I don't get it.
So let me be in terms of Miami. Let me be the kind of negative Nancy here a little bit and
Okay.
say Miami's playoff run is going to be short lived, and this is why. In 5 games, as a team, they shot 45% from three, like 5% higher than any other team in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You guys know I love digging into the stats. I love the numbers. I always talk about regression to the mean. That's not sustainable. Them hitting that high of a percentage, and if it happens, that will be absolutely incredible. On the regular season, this team averaged 34% from three. So they are shooting 11% from deep better than they did during the regular season. I think that is a small sample size abnormality. That is, look, it's incredible what they've done. And it's tremendous. And look, they are Jimmy Butler, what he's done. Maybe it's just playoff Jimmy is the thing. And they continue rolling. And it would be a ton of fun if they do. But I see shooting numbers like that and I go, that is not sustainable. That's going to come back to earth at some point. Even if their defense continues to play at a high level and all that kind of stuff, which can definitely happen, that shooting is not going to happen for the entirety of the playoffs.
I am worried that they are going to have to put so much load on Jimmy Butler in this next series against the Knicks to create everything that it's going to be a challenge. I'm worried that he's going to wear down by the end of this series, and that's what I worry. Is the Knicks have a lot of different guys they can throw at him. I'm not saying they're going to shut Jimmy Butler down, but it's just when he has to continually create all of their offense, because their only other off the dribble creator that is consistent is Gabe Vincent, because Kyle Lowry is very hit or miss now, and Tyler Hero is obviously out. So it just so much falls to Jimmy Butler to kind of create everything. Because I don't know what's happened to Bam Adebayo this year. He just hasn't been the same guy, especially offensively. So I think that's going to be a fun series. It's a throwback, right, to the NBA series we grew up on in those two teams. For anybody, I know we probably have quite a few younger viewers and listeners. The Knicks and Heat hated each other.
Yes.
Like they were that is the only rivalry in recent years. And I'm saying recent years, even though I know it was like 25 years ago, where the players hated each other as much as the fans hate each other.
I feel so old when you say that was
yeah.
25 years ago.
Dude, do you remember that play where Paul Pierce like stared down Al Harrington in the Celtics Pacers series, and he talked trash to him the entire time, and then he drilled a jumper on him to win the game? It's a pretty famous play because like Pierce just kind of kept telling him like, dude, you had a poster of me on your wall when you were in high school and all this stuff, and then he hit a three over him, and it was a deep 3-2. That happened 20 years ago. That happened in 2003. So like all this stuff, like as these things pop up, this kid's transferring he's the son of a player from UMass's Final Four team, which like UMass's Final Four team was like a huge thing when I was in high school. And I'm like, wait, that guy has a son who's like playing college basketball. Like, so yeah, there's something that reminds me how old I am every day. But to go back to the Knicks Heat, like, and just really full on hated each other.
Yeah.
So I am super excited to see what that looks like. Just because if nothing else, even if that animosity is not there between the franchises anymore, just the whole like we're gonna see all those highlights again.
Oh, sure. Jeff Van Gundy hanging on to Alonzo Mourning's leg and all that. Yeah.
Alonzo or Allen Houston's game-winning runner were rolled in and bounced in on an incredible shooter's role, and just Patrick Ewing and Alonzo Mourning battles over the years and those kind of things. So yeah, I'm super excited for that one.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see that one. Christian said, "Hey guys, would you use Mo Bamba in the Brook Lopez role for the Bucks? Lakers seem to be getting killed on the offensive boards." I think that was the idea behind getting Mo Bamba, was that you would. I mean, Darvin tries to copy in some ways the Bucks schemes, not completely, but that was the idea of, hey, you want a 3-point shooting big that can be out there. But I've been asked this a million times over the last week and a half. Why isn't Mo Bamba getting playing time? He's not stopping Jaren Jackson Jr. He's not. He's probably going to foul him a bunch, but he's not stopping him. And he hasn't even played much recently. And you can argue that the Lakers should have given him more minutes or something in the regular season. Once he got back from injury, should have gotten him into a rhythm. But to me, now is not the time to dust off the guy who hasn't played at all in the playoffs and has played hardly at all in the last 2 months. Now is probably not the time to throw that guy out on the floor. I know when you see rebounds given up, you go, oh, well, then you need more size. That's the solution. Or you see Jaren Jackson score at the rim. Oh, that's the solution, more size. Remember, there's always going to be The flip side to it, though, what do the Bucks do on the perimeter if Mo Bamba's in there? Is Mo Bamba making that big of a difference protecting at the rim? Maybe you answer yes, but if it's me again, I'm not messing around with stuff right now, particularly with a guy that Game 6, who do you trust? That's what it comes down to. Who do you trust? You haven't seen enough Mo Bamba to say we trust this guy to be on the floor in what the Lakers have to approach as a do or die, win or go home scenario.
I've seen enough of him to know I wouldn't trust him to be on the floor. I mean, I watched almost every game this guy has played in his career, and he's not good. Like, I don't. I tried to tell people when this trade happened at the trade deadline that this was the Lakers taking a flyer.
Yeah.
All right, basically we're salary dumping Patrick Beverly. We're going to take back Mo Bamba in this deal. Maybe we'll catch lightning in a bottle, but his hands aren't good. He is not a good rebounder despite his size. He's even defensively, he'll block some shots, but he gives up just as much as he gets on that end. Yeah, and he's got good shooting range. He's just not good enough. Like that's where it's at. And my thing is too, like, why are we changing stuff? You're up 3-2. Like why are we changing anything? Like just keep doing what you've been doing and you'll be fine. Like you're not the team that's trying to change up your approach here. If you're the Lakers or if you're the Warriors tonight, like just keep doing what you've been doing. It'll be fine.
Yeah, and that was they used the term "you're taking a flyer on him." That's the exact term that I used to sources within the team, and there was zero pushback on that. They said, "Yeah,
Yeah.
we're taking a flyer." That's what they're doing.
Yep.
Just seeing, what's there.
Yeah, and maybe he's back next year, and maybe with a full training camp and everything, you can incorporate him a little bit more. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big fan, though. I don't think he's very good.
Will I do playback next season? Yeah, planning on it. And unless something changes, but yeah, let's go Lakers. Baby, need that win tonight. Again, I think this is win or go home. You can't go to Game 7. So this is you have to get it done, especially because I think the Lakers are out of gas. I think they're done energy wise. I don't think they have it left in the tank. You have to get it. You can't go to Game 7.
Yeah, if it goes 7, I am, because as far as I understand, that next series there'll be a day off and that next series will start. I'm worried about what it'll look like, whether it's the Warriors or the Kings. Like I could see them just getting completely run off the floor in that first game, just because, you can see the roster is far better than it was 2 months ago at the, really almost 3 months ago now at the trade deadline. But it's still, there's a lot of miles, both cumulatively over years on a lot of these guys, but a lot of miles on these guys just this season alone. And you can start to see some of that wearing. I think it's odd. I think LeBron knows how to pace himself through that far better, but Anthony Davis, just some of these games, it looks like he can barely finish these games. He just looks like he's so exhausted. And I think this is why he doesn't want to play the 5, right? Because when you play the 5, you're asked to do 9 million things. And when you're a 5-man who is then the team's 4th offensive option or 5th offensive option, you can do all those things.
Yeah.
When you're asked to screen, defend at the level of the ball, drop back and help at the rim, get rebounds, box out, do all this stuff, and be the second option or sometimes the first option on the offense, that's really, really tough. So I think the Lakers are going to win tonight and close out the series. And I think that's huge for them just to get off your feet for a couple days before the next one starts. And then, then we can get into it at that point. But you go 7, even if you win, it might be pretty trouble.
This is where
Mo Bamba better than Embiid. Get out of here.
You're paying the price right now for messing around in Game 2. That's what this is. The basketball gods punishing you for, because now you've had to play 2 extra games at minimum, because you didn't approach Game 2 the correct way. You didn't approach it. You had an opportunity in front of you and you said, no, thank you. We'll let this one pass by. And you just can't do that. You can't do that in the postseason. You blew an opportunity to get significant rest by not really attacking Game 2. And so that's where they're getting punished here. Let's go. Okay, I did that one already. Oh,
yeah, we don't need to see that again. Get that out of here. What are you putting that up again?
Oh, Keith, I feel like we're on the path towards a dark timeline, though. The Celtics have that clear runway now straight to the finals, just about, with the Bucks gone, at least in terms of ceiling. Nobody can match the Celtics in the East in terms of ceiling.
Dark green timeline, you mean?
it's a dark timeline in general.
Dark
Although I will
green
say
timeline.
those dark green jerseys are starting to grow on me a little bit. Do
They're
you
good.
like them?
Yeah, I mean, it's
It's like
funny.
more of a foresty green.
Yeah, they call it Kelly green is what they
Yeah,
call it.
I'm
I
terrible with colors.
am Celtics, Laker. I mean, you know how I feel about all
Sure.
that stuff. I want them in their traditional uniforms as much as possible. Boston's black alternates with the green numbers, those have grown on me, and I kind
Mhm.
of like them. So those I'm okay with. I very much like the Lakers Sunday whites. I think those are sharp. All the rest of them for both franchises, just throw them away. Like 99% of the alternate uniforms are garbage. Like, and I hate
There's a
most of
few
them.
good
So
ones. The Black Mamba
yeah,
jerseys are in a tier of themselves. I like the
yeah.
Suns jerseys.
Suns have done
Um,
well
the
with
Suns have
theirs,
done well
but
with that. The Miami,
yeah.
the Vice jerseys were fun, and then
The
they
pink
got into
ones, yeah.
the
I
pink ones,
like the
but
cherry
then
blossom ones in Washington. I think those
okay,
are sharp. But there's it maybe 99. I'll say all right, 75% are not good. So
Miami went a little crazy when they went with the ransom note lettering
oh
on their
god, those
jerseys.
were
That was
ridiculous.
awful.
I don't
That
even
was awful.
understand what anyone was thinking there.
But anyway, a short preview of Nuggets Suns.
Sure.
I I thought the Suns were not impressive in round one. I thought they were not what we kind of expected them, and maybe they were overhyped because of the big names that are on their roster. But I I, th- I think I've got the Nuggets taking this because I don't know. I think the Nuggets defensively can be impactful on that end of the floor. I don't know that the Suns are going to be able to defend at a high enough level to win the series. They'll have some games where their offensive output is enough to carry them, but I don't know that they take the series just based on their ability to get stops.
I think by the time we get deep into this series, it's basically going to be the starting fives for both groups playing about 45 minutes a game
Mhm.
because neither team trusts their depth. The Nuggets do slightly more because of Bruce Brown, and they are going to need him because they need guys who can at least make Devin Booker and Kevin Durant work. You're not going to stop them, but make them work, and Brown will be a part of that. And they obviously trust Jeff Green to play quite a few minutes as the backup big. But the Suns' depth is just, I mean, it is just bad. They just don't really have much, behind their starting guys. So again, it's kind of, Nuggets depth, meaning like through their 6, 7 guys against the Suns, stars. Again, it's similar to the first round series. I think Denver's going to have a hard time defending Phoenix because Denver is built like uh, Milwaukee to a sense, and a couple of the other teams. Not they don't play the extreme drop coverage, but they want you to take mid range shots. Suns are happy; they'll live in the mid range. Whether it's Booker, KD off pull ups,
Yeah.
Chris Paul coming off screens and pulling up for that elbow jumper. So that's where I'm a little bit worried that the Nuggets aren't going to get stops. And then when it flips to the other end of the floor, yeah, it's they're going to have trouble too. But Aiton 2 years ago did really well against Jokic in the
Yeah.
playoffs.
That
Did
that's going to be the
really
key.
really well.
How
So
does
that's it.
Aiton
Yeah,
get
you got to
destroyed by
try to slow
Jokic
him
or
down.
not?
Yeah, yeah. If Jokic can dominate that matchup, I feel a lot better. I am going to lean towards. I'm going to take Phoenix in 6.
Okay.
I trust their star power a little bit more than the Nuggets. I don't think they'd win a game 7 in Denver, so I'm going to go with Phoenix in 6. But Nuggets in 7 would be my second choice.
That's where I was leaning was Nuggets in 7. I think the Suns offense carries them at least a few games in
I
the
should
series,
plug that
and
in.
the mid range game I think will indeed be in the favor obviously of the Suns, but I think the Nuggets are the better team between the two sides, and ultimately will find a way
That's and
to get that
that I
done.
think
So,
is totally fair. So if we can actually catch up on these a little bit. So
boy,
uh
we were wrong on the Bucks, that's for
Bucks
sure. I think
Heat.
we both predicted sweeps.
I picked Bucks in 5. You picked Bucks in 4. I
Oh
picked
man.
Celtics in 4. You picked Celtics in 5. So we both got the Bucks wrong. We both got the Celtics right. We both picked 76ers in 5. So we're good there. We both picked Cavs in 6. So that was
Yep.
wrong.
Yep.
So no, if anybody's sensing a trend here, stop listening to us with advice on these series. I picked Nuggets in 5. You picked Nuggets in 6. So we're both good
Mhm.
there. I picked Suns in 7. You picked Suns in 6. Like, I think that series might have gone longer had the Clippers had
Injuries.
Kawhi.
Yeah.
And then let's see, we both picked Warriors in 6. I picked Lakers in 7. You picked the Lakers in 6. So we're still pending on that. And you're picking the. Let me make sure you're picking. What is it? What did you say? Nuggets.
Denver in 7.
And I'm picking Suns in 6, so that's good. We're opposite on that one. What do you think of Knicks Heat? Since we already kind of talked about that series.
Again, going to I think regression hits the Heat's 3-point shooting, so I'm gonna go Knicks. I'm gonna say, let's see, Knicks have home court. Ooh, God, this is spicy, but I'm gonna say Knicks in 5.
All right. Oh, that is. I picked Knicks in 7. I think that the Heat have enough to drag that to 7 games, but I'll give the Knicks the home court bump on that one. I am not ready to pick Celtics 76ers, so y'all will have to wait till Monday to get that one. I have to go back into it. I think the Celtics will win. I don't know that I'm not sure on the new how many games, rather I should say.
All right. This one's interesting. If you guys could go back in time and change one move, in the history of the franchises you root for, what are those moves and how would they impact the NBA timeline?
I would have somebody pick up Len Bias.
Yes, I knew you were going there.
After he was drafted and get him, not let him go to that party that night.
Yeah.
I think the Celtics win probably 2 or 3 more championships. And I think Larry Bird probably plays 15 years at least because they would have had the guy who could take a lot of pressure off him. Len Bias was awesome. And yeah.
Yeah, that's the obvious. I mean, that you got to go with that one for the Celtics. For the Lakers, I mean, obviously you've got plenty of different things that have happened, in the past. Okay, so here's what I would, and this would make no impact on the actual on-court play or anything like that, but it's got to be not letting Kobe get on that helicopter.
Yeah.
And again, it does nothing for the on-court play. He wasn't a player for the team at that point, but just in terms of what it meant for the franchise, what it meant for the fan base and everything. I mean, I'll take everything else playing out the way that it did, and go do that. By the way, so this is completely off topic. So 2 nights ago, I had a crazy dream where I was doing an interview. I'm doing a video interview, and I was interviewing Kobe. Except I was interviewing him today, and somehow through my screen, I was going back in time. And I'm trying to warn him. Yeah, right? Like, so I'm talking to him before, right? Before the helicopter accident and all that. And I'm trying to warn him, and he's doing the Doc Brown from the Back to the Future about it not being good for anybody to know too much about their destiny and all that stuff. And I'm like arguing and trying to convince the bizarre dreams that we have in the midst of playoff sleep deprived NBA coverage. That's where I was at the other night.
Man, that is something. That's I would like to know what you had for dinner that night, or were you stacking late night or something? I would say
margaritas were involved.
There you go. That probably impacted things. I would say I'll pick one for the Lakers if I was going to pick something on court, and I'll stay more recent. Find a way to make Shaq and Kobe get along.
Yes.
Because that broke up too early. And I know the Lakers ended up okay after because they won a couple titles a few years later. But I would have found a way because that wasn't done yet when that broke up. Like they still had plenty left in them to go. Obviously, Shaq went on to win a title almost right away. So
this person says Chris Paul trade. Oh, what a mess that was. What a mess.
Yeah. I mean, that one I would say you could make that have happened if you had offered a reasonable trade package, but
it was better than the trade package that got accepted.
Draft Tatum instead of Lonzo.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
That impacts both franchises quite a bit. I think about that like at least probably once a month. Like I just think about that whole series where I am like that, meaning that series of like events where like just how perfectly Danny Ainge played that whole thing. Like knew Philly was going to take Fultz, knew the Lakers would not take Tatum, and got Tatum, and the extra pick didn't end up amounting to anything because it ended up turning into Romeo Langford. But yeah, it was
still you would take that all
Well, I
day.
guess I'm not going to say that because Romeo Langford was part of what they traded to get Derek White. So,
Sure.
I mean, they could have found another way, but yeah.
Mr. Easley said Master Lock injuries during the playoffs. Man, there've been I don't know, like, is
Ridiculous.
it just because we're prisoners of the moment, but it feels like this is a lot for
Yeah.
postseason injuries.
It's a lot of big name guys.
Yeah.
Like that's the super frustrating part there is that that's a big, big name guys that went down. And, it's always that, but yeah, it stinks. So,
It's like series altering injuries. And we talked about the Clippers, the other day, and everything that's gone on with Kawhi and Paul George. By the way, did you see they're dead set on keeping both guys? That was the
I
word coming
did.
out of
Yeah.
their presser, was that they're going to keep both of them and try to build around them and all. I guess maybe not a surprise. Like, what else are you going to say right now? Oh yeah, we might move. Like, they could still change their mind by July, but I don't expect them to. I think this is probably makes the most sense for them. But I mean, it kind of needs to be a question, like what they do moving forward, and not to go back into our Clippers postmortem, but it was just interesting that question was posed to them, and they said, "Oh no, we're going to keep both of them and kind of build from here."
Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. I saw a lot of we're getting a lot of that stuff. Gosh, I can't. Kobe Altman came out and said JB Bickerstaff's not going anywhere. Cavs aren't making major roster changes. I'll also say it's April 28th, so by you know, we'll believe it when we see it with this. So yeah, I'm not so sure with that. So all right, so just keep the questions coming in, guys. But I want to go to something real quick.
Yeah,
What do you think of Warriors Kings tonight? Where are you leaning on this one?
I think the Warriors finish it off.
I
I
think
think the
so
Warriors
too.
finish off, and that would mean 4 straight for the Warriors. But I mean, they're at home. They've been really, really good at home, and just we talk about who do you trust. I trust Steph Curry to have the experience, have the killer instinct to put away the Kings. So that's what I think is going to happen. I think the Warriors beat the Kings tonight.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the Warriors also know they don't want to go back there and play a seventh
No,
game. They don't want to play just an extra game period. So yeah, I think they'll get it done. I'm hoping it's going to be a great game. Quite frankly, I'm kind of happy that's the earlier game because it's already struggle city for me here at 1:30. I'm already thinking about my nap a little later. But it's been tough to stay awake for some of these games. So yeah, I'll be up for Lakers Grizzlies, I think, but there's a chance. I'm at the point in life where I miss some third quarters in these late night West Coast games, and then I tend to wake up and see the fourth quarter, and then I'll rewatch the next day to see how we got there. But yeah, I'm excited for these two games tonight, man. It's nothing is better than the playoffs when you love so for me, I've fully transitioned to I love basketball in the NBA more than I love the Celtics as thing. Like I love that more. So for me, like there's nothing better than high stakes playoff games when you have very little rooting interest in them. Like that's always like
I
it's just so great because you're just kind of just sitting there taking it all in and enjoying it.
I agree with that. I'm not at that point. Obviously, I'm still everything. I'm living and dying with every possession right now in the
I mean,
postseason.
I
But
do when the Celtics play, but I am
sure.
like, yeah,
But that's my approach for football, and I'm actively resisting latching on to any NFL team. So I'm not like considering myself a fan of any particular. Like, obviously, we've got Rams coverage on our network, so I'll root for the Rams when they're playing or whatever. But it's definitely it's a different experience when you can just watch the game and you aren't particularly concerned about what the end result is. You're just
yeah,
looking for a good, a good outcome or a good, not a good outcome, a good matchup, a good storyline throughout the game. And so that's different. But that's the way I approach NFL football right now, and it's enjoyable. I can say that.
yeah, yeah. It's awesome. A couple questions. I can't find it, so I don't remember who asked it, but somebody said, "Is Chris Middleton going to get traded?" Chris Middleton's probably going to be a free agent. I think
Yeah.
he's going to decline that player option and be a free agent. So I don't think we're going to see that happen. So I think he's just going to be out there in free agency, and then we'll see. We'll kind of see where that goes, right? Like, does he return to the Bucks because the Bucks are in trouble if they lose him because they can't really replace him in any kind of meaningful way. But it would give the Bucks a chance to kind of do a soft reset and kind
Yeah.
of get their books back in order and maybe figure some stuff out. But this is a big offseason for Milwaukee. They've got a lot. It's funny. I started outlining their offseason piece for Spot Track, their offseason preview. And it's like, one, I did not expect to be writing it now. But
Right.
I was really like, man, they've got a lot of free agents. You've got the whole Budenholzer thing and all that stuff. So somebody says, what's the market for Middleton? That's Hugh McEl. 30 million. Yeah, probably. Like it's just probably where it is. He's one of the very few true impact free agents that's available, in the high end, out there that may actually truly be available and may move.
Yeah. Yeah. Agree with that. And we'll see ultimately what the Bucks do with that situation. This one says, aside from Celtics versus Lakers finals, what other matchup would be best TV wise? In the finals?
Yeah, I mean the NBA would love anything involving the Knicks, right? Because you
Yep.
get the New York market in there.
Yep.
Celtics Warriors running it back. I think they'd be happy with that.
Mhm.
Suns Celtics would bring a ton of star power in Philly. I think they're pretty okay with all the teams that are left. I think Denver, Sacramento, Memphis, they'd probably rather not have, but TV wise, yeah. I mean, I always find these hard to answer because for me, I'll find it compelling no matter who it is,
Sure.
and I'll enjoy it. But ratings wise, yeah. I mean, they want the big markets or the historic teams or the star driven teams to be there.
Well, and that brings me to like if you want to get into like conspiracy theories and all that, how much money is on the line, assuming the Warriors get through? How much money is on the line in terms of the Lakers getting through to round 2 versus the Grizzlies getting through? Like Lakers versus Warriors in round 2, like the shouts of joy from the NBA front offices will be heard around the country, right? I mean, that would be an absolute bonanza of eyeballs and ratings and all. And if it's Grizzlies, it's going to be, well, that's good, but it's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
There's a lot at stake financially in terms of the Lakers if it is the Warriors that get through, the Lakers getting through versus the Grizzlies getting through.
Yeah, I think and it's you read a lot of different stuff about these things where it
Yeah.
is the TV companies have gotten smarter over not reacting to, well, you got that series this year, you're not going to get it every year, right? And that was a big thing
Mhm.
that they talked about with the Cavs Warriors, where it was like the initial thought was, well, this is gonna stink because they're not gonna have, it's Cleveland, it's not a major market. But then I was like, but it was LeBron and they were ratings monsters and it was fine.
Right.
But then it became on the backside of that, it was, yeah, but we're not gonna pay you based off Warriors Cavs every year being the matchup because that's too much. So I think there's that. Then I think the other piece is this year right now those ads are already sold. It's all been paid for long ago, so there's not a huge thing. It's more of hey, what can we champion our ratings for next year with that? So somebody said, do I think the Lakers can beat the Warriors? I do. I think they can. I don't think they will. That's the matchup I probably worry about for them the most. They just don't have anybody who can guard Steph Curry. Like that's not that teams are just running around with guys that can guard Steph, but they really don't have anybody they can put on them. Because at least the Kings can throw Davion Mitchell on them. For a while, and Fox has been a much improved defender this year. Like the stuff they're doing with Vanderbilt on Ja, it's just not going to work with Curry because they don't play the same.
No,
Right,
not
he's
at
not going to
all.
be able to.
Totally
Yeah,
different.
you can't load to the ball and have your help set and all that stuff. I mean, I don't know. Your best bet is probably Reeves, or probably play Schroeder a lot and say get skinny around the screens and go. So that's my single biggest worry for them in that matchup. But can they beat them? Yeah, because I mean, this Warriors team, they're not the same Warriors that they were even a year ago.
Steph Curry's off-ball movement is insane. The only guy I can compare it to is Rip Hamilton.
Yeah,
Is
or
the
Ray
off-ball? I
Allen.
mean, Ray, sure,
Yeah,
Ray Allen. But I mean, just it's nuts. Just seeing the way
I'm gonna
he's
give
just
you one.
nonstop. Huh?
Trajan Langdon back in the Duke days.
Oh my goodness,
Like he was
that's a blast from the
money
past
on the
there.
screens. Yeah,
Did you see what's going on with the Suns and their TV broadcast rights?
I
While we're
did.
talking a little bit about that,
Yeah.
what do you think about that? They're saying that, their Valley Sports gone, and obviously there's going to be litigation on all this and everything. But they're saying, you know what? forget it. We're not even going to bother with cable. We're just going to put it on regular local TV, and we're going to have streaming services for anybody that's not in our market, and we're going to make up for not having that cable revenue by having so many more eyeballs on our product, because we're going to make it so much more accessible that we're going to do a lot more sales in terms of jerseys, in terms of advertising, and things like that. We're going to make more that way. What do you think about that approach? Is this like the a step towards the future?
It could be. Hey, it's funny, right? A step towards the future by going back to the past, right? Because
Yeah.
I remember, anybody from the Boston area remembers when the Celtics were on, they were on Fox 35 for a long time. That was, I'm not gonna, I'll save everyone the jingle but I do remember it. But it was, or not 35 Fox. Never mind, no one cares.
Oh, we had KCal 9. I mean,
Yeah,
we had that in
and that was still fairly recent, right? That was not even all that long ago.
Yep.
Because I remember even when I lived, I mean, gosh, that was now 16 years ago when I lived in Southern California. I remember the first time I was like, all right, where do I find the Lakers game to watch? And then people were like, oh, that's on, Channel 9. And I was like, oh, really? That was maybe the ABC affiliate or something. If I remember it, I don't know. I could be wrong, but I remember very much with that. So yeah, I'm very curious to see how this goes. I like that they're still going to do a streaming option, which is, that allows any international Suns fans to still,
Mhm.
they sounds like they can get into what they want to do there. A lot of people said, so the Suns will just never be on League Pass. Nope, they've already apparently got that covered. That'll still end up on League Pass, and yeah, I'm really, really curious to see, what this is a throwback to the days of old, like what we grew up on. But yeah, I'm really, really curious. And there's a lot of teams with those Bally Sports contracts. And part of the reporting that came out of that story didn't impact any of the NBA teams, but Bally Sports apparently missed payments to teams,
Yeah.
baseball teams at the beginning of April. So I think you're going to see a handful more teams pull away. I think what this is going to be, we're going to have a combination of these where it'll be, hey, if you're in the local market, you can watch them for free on ABC, ESPN,
Right.
but NBC, CBS, whatever it is, the local channel, and then we will have some either team invested in supported streaming or direct from the team streaming. Like we'll pull away from Valley and some of these others and go, and then we'll get enough people to sign up through our direct streaming product, and we'll see where it goes from there. I'm very, very curious to see how it works.
And I want to see how that all works out with League Pass too. What that
Yeah.
looks like,
Yeah.
and how they integrate all that. But interesting, the cable market has been changing. Of course, sports is seems to be the last kind of holdout, and we'll see ultimately where this goes.
Yeah.
Mr. Easley, two things. I wish the NBA would go back to giving MVP to the player in front of their crowd. And which series are you most excited for next round? So
Yeah. The first one, yeah. Do they not still present the trophy? Because they're not doing that awards night thing anymore. Like that was like a
yeah,
1 or 2 month thing. I don't know. I don't remember.
maybe they do go back to that this year.
Yeah,
I mean, I
maybe.
understand like during COVID and stuff, that was well,
Yeah, yeah,
it'll be.
yeah.
I don't know what they're gonna do this year.
Yeah, I don't remember. I know they do some of it where they bring them to like the player has it at home and they like already like seen them at home, or they're giving it to the guy in the practice facility with his teammates and stuff. So
Yeah,
I don't know. All I know is if it's Joel Embiid and they want to give it to him in front of the crowd, they better do it real quick because you're running out of chances. And that leads me to my answer for the second. It's for me, it's Celtics Sixers, but just taking any of that out of it, it's Nuggets Suns without a doubt.
interesting. Nuggets Suns. I'm in for nostalgia's sake. Knicks and Heat. I think is going to
Yeah,
be interesting. But in terms of just overall, like if it's Lakers Warriors, of course that's going to get the move
big
to the
time.
top of the list. But
Yeah,
without that being said, Nuggets Suns I think is definitely up there. That's going
yeah,
to be a lot
yeah.
of
You
fun.
just have a ton of things. They still present the trophy. They had said this is Kellen Johnson. They haven't the last 2 years because Jokic was already in Serbia. That's
No,
definitely could be true. Yeah, that
yep,
could be why they haven't done it.
that
So so we'll
that
see.
makes
So
sense.
again, better give it to Embiid real quick because otherwise you're giving it to him at home because they
Might
aren't going to
be.
be around very long. I don't think. So
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. It's they're going to need Embiid to completely dominate, and they're going to need James Harden to have a little bit of a throwback I think
Yeah.
have any, and I like Maxey a lot. I like Tobias Harris, what he can bring. I like some of the other things, but uh, I just don't know that they can get it done, especially defensively
Yeah.
against
That's
the
what
Celtics.
I'm
Yeah,
That's what I'm leaning on for the Celtics side is I think they've got a lot of ways they can attack this team and score on them. One of them is going to be Celtics need to push pace. Philly is they're just horrendous in transition.
yep.
They don't even make an effort to get back most times. So even if that turns into a little bit of a track meet and Maxey's beating you off the bounce for some layups and stuff, just keep at it because that's not how Embiid and Harden want to play, and that's not really a criticism. It's just not the style they play, and obviously you got to. Especially early in the series, if Embiid is banged up and dealing with this knee sprain, make him work, put him in actions. Make him really either come out and defend or lay back. And it's just it's going to be pull up jumper city. I think for probably both sides throughout a
Yeah.
lot of this series. So I think that's a little bit of a difference there, and that's where I think the Celtics. So they'll invite guys like Maxey to take a bunch of pull ups and those kind of things because that's not generally where his game is at its best.
No, he's been good shooting the three though. So we'll
Yeah.
see if he can get some
Yeah.
opportunities from there. But he's been great. But yeah, I think when the Bucks went out, I think that kind of ended the Eastern Conference playoffs in terms of who gets through. I think it's just a clear run. Again, I don't expect the Heat to continue shooting this well. The Knicks, I think, are really good, but unless they really go that full, would they have that 8-9 whatever game stretch where they just rattled off a ton of wins in a row?
Yeah.
Unless they can fully recapture that, I just don't see anybody else left standing in the East that have a ceiling high enough to match up with what the Celtics ceiling is.
I'm gonna get you in green soon here, my friend. I can tell
Oh,
you're ready.
that doesn't mean I'm happy about it.
No,
That's the
you're
dark
ready. I can
timeline.
tell. I
I
can
was
see.
I breathe. So there's two things that I'm looking for in the playoffs. So first of all, there's obviously I want the Lakers to go as far as they possibly can. But in lieu of that, the only truly negative outcomes from beyond the Lakers are if the Clippers get there or if the Celtics get there. So the Clippers are out. That's just sigh of relief right there. Okay, I don't have to worry about that. And then it's Celtics, and now I'm like, okay, the Bucks are out. That's about it. That's about it for the Eastern Conference playoffs. It will be a massive collapse by the Celtics if they don't get to the finals at this point because there's nobody else that can match up with them
Yeah,
left. I thought the Bucks could.
we started the show talking about success and failure. It's a failure if the Celtics don't make it back to the NBA Finals. I'm going to
Yes,
say it's a failure if they don't win because I don't know who they'll play when they get
sure.
there. That's that's in a lot of ways the finals is it's not always the best team that wins the finals. With that, I think to answer a couple questions that are in the chat because I think they're both related. Where do you guys see Coach Bud going if he gets
Yeah.
fired? Probably nowhere for a year. My guess is probably takes a year off, and then some team that's middle of the pack that is looking to be good because he is a floor raiser in the regular season. He's going to get you there. He's just not going to raise your ceiling super high, but he's a good regular season coach. And then when a team fires their coach, how do they negotiate paying the rest of their deal? It's generally already outlined when they sign it. So in this case, the belief is with Budenholzer, he's got one more full year he's got this coming year and then one more full year. It sounds like of guaranteed money. So what generally happens is that just gets paid out to him. But if he takes another job, then the team is off the hook for the money they own. That's usually how coach contracts work. And then they ask, does it impact the cap? No, nothing to do with the coach salary is ever involved in the salary cap.
That's right. That's right. Dave, it's a super chat, so I'll address it. Why does Ham continue to ride Gabriel over Bamba? He's not even playing when Gabriel really.
Yeah, he's playing
Gabriel's getting like
3
2
minutes a
minutes.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like I notice he comes in when it's like, all right, AD's ready to literally fall over. We get in. What I do think he's done a really good job is, and this is a very underrated thing with coaches, is he's getting him off the floor like right ahead of a TV timeout. So then it's like bonus rest,
the TV
right?
timeouts are like 15 minutes at
Oh,
this
they're
point.
so awful.
They're so long. They're so long. But
Thank
I mean,
God
you
they
use them.
changed them and got rid of having so many of them.
Yeah.
Like, remember the first one was after 3 minutes? It was at the under 9 minute mark of the first and third quarter. It's like the game hasn't even started. These guys didn't even sweat yet. And like we're already taking a TV timeout. So I'm super happy that they changed those rules. But yeah, he is doing a good job of getting him into a spot where it is, steal. That's how you steal a couple extra minutes of rest on guys. That was a big Phil Jackson thing. He used
Yeah.
to do all the time, where it would be, I know, especially during the Bulls run, it was big for him. He'd get MJ out like 2 minutes before with this. So yeah.
This one,
Hey, I
my
love it.
little, is it Pony?
Congratulations. I think so.
I think so. A longtime listener, first time catching the show live. Well, thank you for catching the show live. Normally, I'm working at this time. The wife is getting induced, so we've got some downtime. Go Celtics! Well, congratulations in advance there. Please pay attention to your wife. That don't watch this
Yes.
show right now. Pay attention to
Well,
your wife and
well
everything going on
done
there.
getting
But
the baby in on a couple off days of the Celtics playoff run. So well
there
done
you go.
by you.
That's critical. My
Well
dad
done.
has still not forgiven my sister for being born during a finals game, Lakers versus versus Celtics.
I was born during the 2010 Celtics finals run.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
Yep. There you go. But
Shout out to our daughter. She'll be 13 in a week.
oh boy,
Yeah.
have a teenager.
Speaking of feeling old, like every day,
Yep.
that one.
That
Yeah,
will
I
do
did
it.
have her translate some text for me the other day because I don't. How do these kids understand each other? Like nothing
Oh.
that they write is like spelled correctly. It's some of the things aren't even words. Like, and it's not the abbreviations. I'm on Twitter enough. I get 99% of those and I figure them out. But it's just like, what is this word? And then she's like, that is, and I'm like, that's not even remotely spelled right.
Oh yeah, when they spell something out like how they hear it said.
Yeah.
Oh
It's like,
yeah, it's rough. And as a
old guys like
teacher,
us, it's like hooked on phonics does not always work.
some of that stuff was starting to creep into like papers kids were
I
turning
can
in. And
imagine.
I was like, oh no, this is bad.
That's why you don't do that anymore.
Yeah, that's why I was like, all right, that's it. I'm out of here. But
Well, and in the subject you taught too, that's a lot of writing, right? That's not a it's not like math where it's like, all right, they solve the equation and they go on. You're like, that was tough. Yeah. Oof.
But anyway, congratulations to this
Yes, congrats.
and
Happy
hope everything
for you.
goes great. And yeah, big moment. So
He
congratulations.
just hates tall guys. Man,
Who said that?
Lakers should, yeah. Ham could have played
Oh.
Bombay in garbage time. He just hates tall guy.
That's what it is.
Maybe
That's
maybe
what it
that's
is.
what it is. Yeah. Maybe Mo Bamba's gonna break a backboard, like shatter a backboard, and be like, Coach, I can do it. Get me in there, just like you back in the day.
He might shatter a backboard with a shot. I don't think he's gonna shatter a backboard by dunking it.
Could.
But
do you know do you know the famous story about a shattered backboard with a shot? Do you know the story from Celtics history? Probably.
I mean, I know Darvin Ham shattered a backboard back in the day, but I don't know about the Celtics.
If I made my details may be slightly off, but I believe it was the first game played in Boston Garden with the Celtics. One of their players, Chuck Cooper, who later went on to be the Rifleman in the old TV series from the 50s, The Rifleman. He took a shot and it broke the backboard, and they had to delay the game and go over to BU and bringing a whole other backboard into the arena to finish the game. So they had to like go in a truck, load it onto the truck, and bring it over to the arena to finish the game. So there you go. Yeah,
I've never heard of anybody breaking a backboard with a shot though.
Yeah. Back in the 50s, man.
If anybody was going to break a backboard with a shot in today's NBA, who would do it?
That's a good question. It'd have to be somebody who would actually shoot from the outside.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like that's the only way it's gonna happen. Who's a bat like a just a I mean, I don't want to.
I've got one, but it's mean to say it. I mean,
right?
it's mean to, but like just on sheer volume.
Yeah, it's probably Russ. Then he'd be like Russell Westbrook backboard or something like that.
Oh God.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, somebody said Dylan Brooks. I'm getting a lot of Russ in here. Eric Gordon, somebody said.
Dylan Brooks is a good one. Eric Gordon. Like
Eric Gordon's a good shooter.
You know, Eric Gordon's one of those jumpers where I'd like that for like a week of pickup. Marcus Smart's not a bad choice because when he misses, he tends to miss pretty bad. He usually misses wide or short, though.
That's just it. You need somebody who doesn't like just barely. You need somebody who, when they miss, like really misses.
Yeah, and they're gonna put some power behind it too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Right.
Dylan Brooks. That's a funny one. I like that one.
Oh, the Lakers' best defender, Dylan Brooks. His offense is their best defense.
That's true.
Or it has been so far anyway.
That is true.
All right.
All right.
Well,
I think
I
we're
think we've
debating
gone off the
this,
rails
yeah.
far enough at this
Yep.
point. Appreciate everybody for joining us here on the Front Office live episode, which is Front Office Friday, of course. Always a blast coming in here and talking NBA hoops with all of you. Of course, we'll do it again next Friday. We'll have regular shows next week. More playoff stuff to talk about. So make sure that you are subscribing to the NBA Front Office YouTube channel. We're heading towards 25,000 subscribers. So hit that subscribe button and don't forget to turn on notifications as well. Till next time, everybody. See ya and stay safe.